Well. Now, I just want to talk about something for a minute if y'all want to sit with me, baby. A whole lot of y'all keep tagging me in the videos about what's really going on, about this being a distraction, the spat with Alonia Muskrat and Daddy Dumpy Pants, and that we should really be focused on the recession package that codifies everything Doge has done into law, makes it permanent, hun. That somehow we're being distracted away from that. I disagree. And you're allowed to disagree with me because this is America. You can have your own opinion. But I'm going to share with you my opinion and why this is absolutely not a distraction and why I'm not very worried about the recession package and them codifying anything Doge has done into law. Firstly, just a fucking week and a half ago, Daddy come out to say that he don't think that Doge did anything helpful in any kind of way. Secondly, have we forgotten on the campaign trail before J.D. Vance came into play? And then when J.D. Vance came into play? Daddy didn't want to have anything to do with J.D. Daddy did not want J.D. to be his running mate at all. J.D. Vance was one of the first original Never Trump guys. He was one of the very first people to get on live TV and compare Daddy Dumpy Pants to Shitler. Daddy didn't want to have shit to do with J.D., but they forced that upon him. They forced J.D. upon him. They told him, if you want to win, you're going to have to pick J.D. Because Peter Thiel and the Heritage Foundation threw everything they had behind who? J.D., the original Never Trump guy. And we knew right then that it was never about the orange man. It was about using him in his very small but very fucking loud bass. They needed that loud bass to make some noise, to make them look bigger than they were, so they could deploy all of their tricks. Yes, all of those tricks that caused the election to swing in all 6 swing states Daddy's way. So they told Daddy, we're going to let you play and we're going to let you win, but you got to let J.D. in. It was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time. They've been doing everything they can to make the orange man look like he is unfucking fit. They even talked about it on the campaign trail. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Daddy became very paranoid one day about Amendment 25 that says if the president is unfit, he can be removed and replaced. You remember on the campaign trail when all of a sudden that was all Daddy wanted to talk about. But he couldn't talk about it out loud. He had to kind of keep it quiet and just take to his not-so-true socials to say that that's something that needs to go away out of the Constitution. Because even Daddy knew something malicious was up. This is not a fucking distraction. This has been the play from day fucking one, hun. They let Daddy pick a few of his Red Hat crew to put in important positions because they didn't care. They were expendable, like Petey Kegseth. All the advice from the Heritage Foundation, Peter Thiel, Alonia Muskrat, everybody, for Petey not to be at the table to play. But they had to let Daddy have his way. So they let him have Petey because Petey's a moron and a fool and a tool that could be easily used and disposed of. With all his predilections for violence and liquor, he would be easy to get out of the way. It's almost right out of House of Cards, season fucking 1. But either way, they let Daddy pick Petey and they let Daddy pick Cosplay Christie because she's no threat to them. She's a fool, too. But if you pay attention to the people that have been stacked underneath them and around them, and a couple other fools that they let Daddy pick, too. They let Daddy pick RFK. They let RFK throw money Daddy's way and let him do that because they're not real concerned about that either. No. But they've been systematically placing people in place to remove Daddy from his place. Even the little 22-year-old alt-right eyebrow guy they put up there. That's a Heritage Foundation and Peter Thiel pick. Yes, baby. So this little spat between Alonia Muskrat and Daddy was going to play out, but it came a little earlier than expected. They didn't think this was actually going to happen and the fight was going to really blow up until about August. That's what they were hoping for. They were hoping for August before the big blowout. But we all know everybody up there around Daddy is not all there. Peter Thiel used Alonia Muskrat. Just like he used him in the past, he's used him over and over and over and over again. They've been friends since way back before he come this way. And they created PayPal together. But even Alonia knows. Peter Thiel just uses him for a fucking thrill. But they don't seem to mind using each other as long as they're both doing fine and on the come-ups. But Alonia Muskrat has been on the downfall, not the fucking come-ups. So it was just a matter of time before he erupted and exploded. And Peter's not worried about that, neither is the Heritage Foundation, because their main fucking goal is to get rid of the orange guy. One thing that they all forgot to factor in, though, the one thing that they all forgot because of their arrogance and their intelligence, the arrogance they have in their own intelligence, they did not factor in the variable of crazy. They thought because MAGA was so stupid that they would be able to control MAGA. But they forgot. You may be able to control and fool stupid, but crazy? Baby, crazy's, you can't control crazy. You cannot control crazy. You cannot predict what crazy is gonna do, no matter how big of a supercomputer you have, boo. The variable of crazy, no, even AI can't predict that. So, that's what we have at play today. The crazy. There's crazy ones over there begging for Alonia Muskrat and Daddy to make up and love each other again. And then there's another faction of MAGA that's saying deport Alonia. They're calling him a Chinese communist today. Then there's a faction of MAGA that's finally opened their fucking eyes and said, you know what? I think I believe the SpaceX guy. And it's going to be easy to take everything away from Daddy, considering the fact that the people he is pissing off and the people that has used him to get where they needed to be, control and hold all of the cards. Daddy may have about 30 million crazy lunatic MAGA trolls, but Alonia Muskrat and Peter Thiel control information. And that's where the power is at. This spat is not going to work out in Daddy's favor. Alonia is not doing this because he wants an EV mandate. Alonia is not doing this to distract you from the recession fucking being being codified, his Doge cuts, maybe. The minute Daddy comes out to say another thing about Alonia and sling shade his fucking way, which he already did today by saying he's getting rid of that little red fucking Tesla, his minions are going to fall in line and they're not going to vote for anything that would make Alonia look good, like codifying Doge. They really need that big, beautiful bill passed so they can't be held accountable for defying a federal judge's orders. That's why they want that big, beautiful bill passed. It basically gives them immunity. The most important thing we need to worry about today is the big, beautiful bill and continuing to drive a rift between Alonia Muskrat and Daddy Dumpy Pants. I know it feels like we're almost helping out Peter Thiel and the Heritage Foundation and J.D. Vance. Sometimes you have to help your enemy for just a minute to get one problem out of the fucking way. Trust me when I tell you, it will be extremely easy to fucking remove J.D. Boo. Don't worry about that. It will be. All that power that Peter Thiel and Alonia Muskrat have don't compare to what's going to go down when the Red Hat Republicans lose their shit and start pulling stunts.